Lamb is known for its tenderness, its unique flavor, and its versatility. Dishes featuring lamb are found in cuisines around the world, whether dressed up with the heady flavors of garlic and lemons or paired with aromatic herbs, dried fruits, and spices. Today we're going to begin with the most popular cut, leg of lamb. Butterflied and rolled up with a mouth-watering combination of preserved lemon, rosemary, and mint. Roasted to perfection. You're gonna love it. And if you're in the mood for a warming stew, I suggest lamb tagine, a lush and spicy North African dish filled with butternut squash, prunes, and fragrant cinnamon. Yogurt marinated lamb kebabs paired with summer's bounty of zucchini and yellow squash, and one pan is all you need for juicy, flavorful lamb loin chops. Not only are they simple to prepare, they're just right for a quick dinner with your favorite side dishes. When a leg of lamb is boned and then opened up, it's referred to as having been butterflied. Of course, you could grill it as you could take the opportunity to make it even more delicious by slathering it with a delectable preserved lemon and herb paste. Then you just need to roll it up and roast it just like I plan on doing. Preserved lemons, which are very essential to this particular recipe, are lemons that have been preserved in a salt-lemon mixture for about 30 days. This is a preserved lemon. It's packed in a jar with salt. Lemons done like this have a silky texture and a very distinctive, unusual flavor, and they're very widely used in Moroccan cooking. The initial purpose of preserving lemons in salt and their own juice was to make lemons, a winter fruit, last all year long. Once you preserve the lemons, it is just the rind. This is the rind of one lemon. We're going to use this in our marinade. You can just cut it into smaller pieces and put into a food processor. About ½ cup of rosemary leaves. Seems like a lot, but not for such a big piece of lamb as we have here. 2 cloves of garlic, and you can roughly cut these up just so that the food processor doesn't have to work so hard. And some beautiful mint leaves, a very nice accompaniment for lamb. You can again just coarsely cut these up and put these into the processor. And some salt, some pepper, and you can just grind it up a little bit and process with about 1/3 of a cup of olive oil. It's almost like making a pesto. Now the lamb is exactly as I received it from the butcher, beautifully prepared as a butterfly, but it really a little bit thinner, and you can do that yourself at home between 2 pieces of plastic wrap and use a meat tenderizer or a mallet. Don't use the prickly side, that will tear through the plastic, but just use the smooth side and pound until it's pretty much all the same thickness so that it will cook nice and even. And you can spread half of this mixture on one side of the lamb and half on the other. A most really fragrant mix. You can fill every little nook and cranny, but just half on this side. There. Now fold your meat in half. We want to fit it into a shallow pan. And another bit all. You can just lift up and slide into your pan. And you've made very little mess. You 1/4 of your marinade on this side. This will overnight really flavor the lamb. That is perfect. Use your plastic to cover over the lamb and refrigerate at least 8 hours, preferably overnight. So here's our gorgeous marinated big hunk of good. We're getting ready to roll it. Though the cut can be very pricey, this leg of lamb, it is very straightforward to prepare, even for the novice home cook, and it is one of the most popular lamb cuts that we have. Now the lemon, we need just the peel. So I'm taking away that pulp. For this, it's very nice to see the strips of lemon in the meat. Cut the strips quite thinly so that they are easily eaten. A big chunk will be a little strong. There. So that's your lemon peel. So now put your lamb on a board and spread the lemon peel all over the inside. This is going to be rolled up, so put this all evenly spaced on the inside. Lamb takes a lot of seasoning very nicely, and salt and pepper in the roasting process is very important. Oh, for all cuts of lamb. Now roll up, narrow end to big end. Tucking in any little loose pieces. And here you are going to behave like a butcher. You are going to be tying this roast together with butcher's twine. It's slippery. Now, cut a piece of string about 6 feet long, and this is cotton butcher's twine. Everybody has a different method for tying a roast. Slide your string under and tie into a strong knot. Butchers can do this so quickly. There. Okay, so now we are going to blanket stitch your roast. Take the string underneath. Just take the whole bunch of string like this and pull it through. It is the blanket stitch that is one of the first embroidery stitches you learn when you're learning embroidery. There, now you can go around this way under the whole roast and tie this to the other side. So you have a perfect roast, as nice as the butcher would do it. And now get this into your roasting pan, a parchment liner in the pan, a rack for the meat, and put this whole roast into a preheated 450-degree oven for 25 minutes. Then add half a cup of water. Reduce the heat to 400 degrees and continue roasting 35 minutes or so. Let the lamb rest in the pan out of the oven for about 30 minutes before you carve it. Snip off your trussing strings, and I'd slice the lamb, approximately between 1/8 and 1/4 of an inch thick. And you can arrange as you wish on your platter. Garnish with wedges of fresh lemon, and there you have a really, really gorgeous platter of delectable, flavorful leg of lamb with very little effort. Enjoy. This is 1 pound of lamb shoulder cut into 1-inch cubes, and I'm using it in a North African stew known as a tagine. A tagine is named for the traditional dish in which it's cooked. And this is the traditional tagine. It's Moroccan in origin, and you can see that it has a shallow base with a distinctive cone-shaped lid that fits snugly inside. And this design allows the steam to rise on the inside of the cone and then drop back down onto the succulent food below. We are using a metal-based tagine, which has a conical top. It's a great dish. Lamb shoulder is the most versatile cut of lamb, and it's really tender and delicious for this particular dish. So to 1 pound of meat, add 2 tablespoons of flour, some salt and pepper, and toss the meat so that it's coated on all sides. And drop the meat piece by piece into 2 tablespoons of hot olive oil. This should fit pretty much in the bottom of the tagine. So get that meat browning, and as soon as it browns, you remove it, and then we cook a few more things in the same pan. Most commercial American lamb comes from the West, primarily Colorado and California. They're fed on a mix of grass and grain, has mild taste and flavor. New Zealand and Australian lamb is primarily grass-fed and apt to have a stronger, more gamey flavor. So once you've removed the meat from the pan, add 1 medium yellow onion, peeled and chopped. 2 cloves of garlic, peeled and chopped. And stir that in the lamb juices and the remaining olive oil. Add 2 cinnamon sticks. Cinnamon is such a fragrant, wonderful spice, and it adds a depth of flavor to this particular dish. Salt and pepper, and 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. Put your meat right back into the onion. Stir well, and add approximately 1 quart, 4 cups of water. Bring this to a boil, cover, and transfer to a 350-degree oven for about 1 hour. So this has been in the oven for 1 hour. Before the lamb comes out of the oven, cut up 1 butternut squash into 1-inch cubes. Add your squash, stir that in, and this goes back into that 350-degree oven for about 30 more minutes. So would you like to see what it looks like? A tagine can go seamlessly from stove to table for a lovely presentation. Oh, the squash is done, the meat is just plump. Now stir in a 1/2 cup of prunes from which you've removed the big pits, and let them just sit in the hot sauce, that hot gravy. And remove the cinnamon sticks just so that no one gets served the cinnamon stick. These prunes can just plump up in the juice. And then for serving, always prepare some couscous. Steamed couscous is so delicious. Make a nice little mound on your plate. And there are many, many, many varieties and versions of the meat tagine in Moroccan cooking. Once you try this one, I'm sure you'll get adventuresome and try some others. But this is a delectable dish. You and your family and your guests will really enjoy. Top with just a few leaves of coriander. That is a delectable dish, and it is a nice introduction to the cuisine of Morocco. A great way to use shoulder of lamb. I thought I'd show you how to make some really delicious kebabs. Kebabs are thought to have originated with ancient Middle Eastern cooks who, out of necessity, had to devise a way of cooking meat with limited fire. Their solution was to thread small pieces of meat onto skewers, which cook faster than larger ones. As you'll see in this recipe for curry yogurt marinated lamb kebabs, they cook in no time at all. So we have 1 cup of Greek yogurt, unflavored. Could be low fat or regular. Add to that a 1/2 teaspoon of cumin, 2 tablespoons of finely chopped onion, and I'm mixing this whole dressing right in the same pan in which the lamb and the vegetables will marinate. Some honey, very nice, a 1/2 teaspoon of honey, Greek honey if you have it. This is my own honey. The zest of 1 lime. We're making a very flavorful marinade. Lamb just takes flavors really, really well. We also want the juice of 1/2 of a juicy lime. If your lime is kind of dry, use the whole lime. It's pretty, so you can cut your lime in 1/2 and juice it right into this mixture. Some 2 tablespoons of fresh mint chopped, and some curry powder, 1/2 teaspoon. Get a nice flavorful fresh curry powder. Important that it be fresh. Spices do tend to get old, do tend to lose their potency, their flavor, and they also get rancid. So I think that's it for our marinade. Cut the meat into 1 1/2 inch cubes. This is boneless leg of lamb. Some of the pieces may be slightly smaller, then you can put two pieces together. But isn't that gorgeous, gorgeous lamb? Oh, so beautiful. You can cook these on a griddle pan right in your kitchen. You can also do them on a gas grill or on a wood-fired grill. Just be sure that you don't have the fire so hot that the kebabs burn. You want to cook them fast but tenderly. So here we have the lamb all cut up. Pretty, isn't it? This is going to marinate for at least 8 hours in the refrigerator, and you can do it overnight too. Now I'm cutting these, I call this quarter cut. Keep turning the squash a quarter turn so you're getting an odd shape, and always cut off the end like that, like that. It gives more surface area and it's prettier and chunkier. And the same with the yellow squash. And they all end up kind of being the same size, which is nice. And if you wish, a tiny bit more salt can be sprinkled and a little bit more pepper. Cover and refrigerate. So now here's lamb that has marinated with the squash 8 hours. Make sure that the pieces are all about the same size and don't crowd the skewers. Bamboo skewers like these are readily available in supermarkets and cooking supply stores, and they should be soaked in water before you use them. It prevents them from burning once they're on a griddle pan like this or on a grill. I also like sometimes to use these beautiful rosemary branches. If you have a big rosemary plant or have access to rosemary that's growing quite large, you can use this because it's a woody stem. Just make sure that you cut the ends of these branches with scissors so you make a little point. Now to make a rosemary skewer, take a branch and just strip the leaves right off. They come off so easily, and oh, are they a fragrant, wonderful skewer. And these two can sit in a little bit of water until you're ready to use them. So now skewer meat. We're going to cook all the meat on the rosemary, and I'm going to do all the meat together and the vegetables together so that everything cooks in the same amount of time. So per person, I would say 4 pieces of meat. I'm going through the meat through the longest side, exposed. Now this can be done before your guests arrive so you're not there with dirty hands skewering kebabs. And now for the vegetables, you can use the bamboo and go also through the squash. And this can be done alternating colors. So now just lay your kebabs on your grill. And look how pretty these look on the rosemary. These are best eaten as soon as they're done, but they can be made in advance also and kept warm. And they take about 4 minutes per side, so stay nearby and cook away. So once they've cooked about 4 minutes per side, just remove them to a platter and enjoy. These look so great, and I'm sure you're going to love their taste. So once off the flame, hot off the grill, just sprinkle with a little bit more salt, and you will definitely enjoy curry yogurt marinated lamb kebabs. These loin chops are the porterhouse steaks of the lamb, with the T-bone separating the loin eye muscle from the tenderloin. But as you can see, they are a lot smaller. Between 3.5 and 4 ounces each. Salt and pepper each side of each chop very nicely. Have a cast iron skillet heating on your stove, and make sure that it's side. That's it. So here, just a little bit of oil in the bottom of the pan, and So put your lamb one side down and time this so it's 4 minutes per side. Now the potatoes have been steamed. These are fingerlings. And you then peel and cut into chunks, about 3/4 inch chunks. And we find that the kind of rougher you are with these potatoes, the better they fry. So I'm going to cut these into little chunks, and we're throwing them into the bowl, and you kind of shake the bowl and get them a little bit bruised. Your oil, you can use a good safflower oil or a canola oil. Now see what I'm doing? I'm just bruising them a little bit. I'll add the bigger pieces first. So these are a different kind of French fry. Different shape, no skin on the potatoes, and they are already cooked. So just do a few at a time. 4 minutes. And these are golden brown and crispy. Drain them on a paper towel lined baking sheet and sprinkle immediately with a little bit of sea salt. So it's been 4 minutes. We can now turn our chopped. By the way, did you notice how well trimmed these are? I really like to eat every little bit of my lamb chop. So by trimming off virtually all the fat, except for a fraction of an inch on the perimeter, you are making a really beautiful lamb chop. I think this little batch must be done. Oh, look at the color of these potatoes, how cute they are. Potatoes are almost done. The lamb is certainly done, 4 minutes per side. And look at the great color and the juiciness of those lamb chops. So mouth-wateringly delicious. Serve this with the potatoes and a little sprig of mint, very pretty. This is Farmer's Market spearmint, also very beautiful. And this is Farmer's Market peppermint. There are many, many different flavors of mint. My favorite's spearmint, but garnished like that and served with, well, my favorite is supermarket mint jelly, but that's because of the color. Of course, you can make your own mint jelly and it won't look quite that green. And the potatoes, make a little platter of these, sprinkled with emulsion. You will love this meal. Loin lamb chops, lamb loin chops, whatever you call them, they are tender and they are amazingly flavorful. And served with a lovely glass of Merlot and these beautiful cooked fried potatoes, or fried cooked potatoes. You'll have a delightful meal. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next episode of Cooking School. Cut 2 large lemons into 8 wedges each. Sprinkle with coarse salt and toss to coat. Transfer the lemons to a glass jar with a lid. Add lemon juice to the jar. Cover and let stand at room temperature for 7 days, shaking daily to distribute the salt and the juice. Lemons may be covered with olive oil and stored refrigerated for up to 1 year. Be sure to rinse the lemons before using.